Here's the thing. Whenever you watch a TVD episode, you're like, something bad is going to happen, and I know it's not going to work out for them. But throughout this entire episode, I was like, oh my gosh, maybe it might actually work out for them. And then at last minute, they were like, actually, no.
So hey, hi, hello everyone, and welcome to Afterbite. It's a Vampire Diaries fan cast. It's only 10 years too late. We're here talking about episode 309, Homecoming.
Yeah.
And boy howdy, what an episode, y'all. What an episode.
I love this episode.
I loved it.
There's so many elements of this episode. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's so good. That was so good. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much for doing that. Like, the writers were really at their peak.
This was a really good episode.
Yeah. It felt very like Vampire Diaries. Like, obviously it's Vampire Diaries, but like, like that Vampire Diaries feeling?
Yeah.
It felt very, very Vampire Diaries.
It just felt good.
It's like, this kind of episode is like what made me fall in love with the show. Like, the love, the drama, the horror, all of it. Like, it's just,
The fact that this episode, one of my first notes for this episode is, this is some Scooby-Doo ass shit, means it's gonna be a good episode.
Yeah.
Because it is some Scooby-Doo ass shit.
It's like very Scooby-Doo-esque. They're like paying an homage.
I mean, they're not, but also they are.
Yes.
The writers of this episode was Evan. I don't know how to say that last name, but Evan, you did a good job.
Good job, Evan.
Oh, and Joshua Butler, director. Mwah.
Out
Great
of
job,
the
y'all.
Mystic Falls gang, who's Scooby?
Oh, good question.
Ooh.
I'm starting off with the hard questions real early into this episode. Like, who's Scooby, y'all?
Part of me really wants to say Tyler purely because he's a werewolf.
Let's say like some characteristics of Scooby.
A coward.
Hungry.
Always
Best
hungry.
friends with a dummy.
Best friends with an idiot.
Is it Matt Donovan?
I was gonna say Matt, but
Is
Matt is
Matt
the
Donovan
idiot you're the
Scooby?
best friends with. That's what I'm thinking. But he also is kind of cowardly.
But he's also friends with Jeremy, and Jeremy's an idiot.
That is true. Wait, it could also be Jeremy.
Is Jeremy Scooby?
I think
Because
Jeremy is
also,
Scooby.
it is also, Scooby also is the one who does happen to catch the most criminals by pure dumb luck.
Yeah, I think it's Jeremy.
Is it Jeremy? Is Jeremy Scooby-Doo?
I think he's
Ooh.
Scooby-Doo.
I was about to ask who's Daphne, and then I was like, nope, Caroline.
Yeah.
Of course.
Velma is Bonnie.
Yeah.
Fred is Stefan, probably.
Yeah.
No, but is Fred
Wait.
Elena? Is Elena Fred? I think Elena might be Fred.
Ooh, I like that.
I like
Listen,
that.
gender is a prison that we don't have to put the members of Mystery Inc. into.
Yeah,
That's
I
true.
agree. I agree.
Fred could be Winifred.
Then obviously, like, if Jeremy is Scooby, Shaggy is Matt, right?
He has to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, that's the only one that really makes sense.
Yeah. Sorry to anyone who was not put into a category for the Scooby-Doo mystery.
Hey, sorry for anyone who hates Scooby-Doo, but if you hate Scooby-Doo, you can leave.
Yeah.
This is my podcast, and I love Scooby-Doo, so fuck you.
Yeah. I agree.
The Netflix description for this episode is, on the night of the homecoming dance, Rebecca tells Elena why this evening is so important to her, leaving Elena with conflicting emotions.
That
Which
is
that-
not the entire episode.
That happens!
The only thing
does happen.
They did
It
go
does
into the middle of the
happen.
episode and just, like, watch the scene and was like, okay, that'll be the description for this one.
Yeah.
Not even the middle of the episode. That happens in, like, the first
Yeah, that did happen in, like, the first
5 minutes?
Yeah. So they
Like,
literally
before the
just
title
watched-
card.
They literally was just like, all right, that happened. Write that down.
It
Okay, and I
happens.
don't want to watch the rest of this episode, even though it's really good. I'm going. Goodbye.
Yeah, the one thing I've learned, I'm just, Netflix descriptions, I don't pay attention anymore. Just keep on going. You're binging. Who's reading them?
But we're not binging. We're going episode by episode. So now I have to pay attention.
We are meticulously going through these.
Usually I don't pay attention to Netflix descriptions unless I'm in an episode and I'm feeling kind of nervous about what's gonna happen. And maybe I'll like go and look at what happens in the next episode to calm my nerves, you know? But if I am not binging, I'm paying attention. All right. And I see what you're doing, Netflix. You're really messing it up, all right? For the people who are not binging right now.
Yeah.
I think that's why they can get away with it, by the way. It's because they're like known for like, oh, I'm just gonna sit down and just watch all this at once. And no, so
Exactly.
no
So
one's
they
paying
really don't
attention.
care.
Exactly. But guess what, Netflix? I know what's going on. I see it. I'm not
I see you, Netflix.
I don't have any more blind spots, all right? I see what you're doing. Get help.
Get help.
Get help.
This episode opens up in the Salvatore house where Stefan is calling Klaus, where he's telling him that Mikael is daggered and dead.
Can I just say, love when the story starts with like, oh,
The death.
Yeah.
not even just a good death, but like a dramatic point. And you're just like, how did we even get here? Huh?
I will admit, the first time I ever watched this, I was like, what? Did I miss something?
No, because right after that, they flashback where they go over, where it's Stefan, Elena, and Damon going over the plan of what he's going to tell Klaus. And basically, Michael comes in and is like, well, in order to make this plan believable and make sure that Stefan can tell the truth, you're going to kill me.
Yep.
And what a leap of faith.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, not really. Because
Ultimate trust exercise.
I mean, is it a trust exercise? Because they have to kind of wait Michael, you know?
Yeah.
Because he reveals that he is the only one who knows the location of the stake that can kill Klaus.
Exactly.
Yep.
So he has that weapon. He's gonna get daggered for a while, so Stefan can, get Klaus back to Mystic Falls. Michael's dead on the ground. Stefan's just kind of kicking it on the phone, and they lure Klaus back to Mystic Falls successfully.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think that, like, I feel like the writers had fun writing this episode, you know?
Yeah.
It feels like a fun episode to write.
But the one thing I
It
loved
does.
is like the Mystic Falls gang basically covered all their bases. Like Rebecca, Stefan, like they knew exactly what they were doing.
Yeah.
I was like, damn, you guys are actually get more brain cells now.
Yeah, they rubbed their two brain cells together. A thought occurred.
This is the one time where I was like, wow, you guys actually pulled it off. I'm proud of you.
And it worked.
Yeah, technically it worked.
So Rebecca is also in on the plan to lure Klaus back so they can kill him. And she is sort of just like painting her nails, not a care in the world, while she waits for Michael to wake up, which I love that.
That's really
such a good character moment.
Yeah.
She's just chilling, painting her nails. And Michael wakes up, and she is hostile as she should be.
Yeah, exactly. 100% the right to blame him for destroying their family because he did that.
And Rebecca reveals that Elena has the dagger, so Michael can't use it against Rebecca, which, remember that mouse tool, because we are going to use that later.
It is a very important mouse tool we're using for later.
And, Rebecca sort of is steadfast in her belief that Klaus wasn't born a killer, and what Michael did turned them into killers.
Yep.
And Michael is the one who destroyed their family. Correct. All correct things.
Yes.
I know, because they always want to say, like, Klaus did it. Klaus is the reason their family's destroyed. I'm like, no, it's kind of Michael's fault.
Yeah. It most definitely is. It's just like, here's the thing, right? As we learned in the last episode, the reason that they all were turned into vampires is because he didn't want his family to die anymore, you know?
Yep.
Lost the oldest son, then lost the youngest, you know? But, like, sometimes life has lost in it, and that's what's a part of life, you know? And
I kind of think... Oh, sorry.
I was just gonna say, I think what's a part of being human is just, like, going through that loss and, like, kind of grieving with it and trying to move forward, put your best foot forward, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But, like, to me, the whole entire idea of reacting to that situation by saying, okay, now we have to live forever.
Yeah.
It's wild.
It's wild, but also just, like, kind of like inhuman. Because what human actually wants like some people say they want immortality, but you don't actually want immortality.
No,
It would be terrible.
it would
Yeah.
be. Because what I was thinking, like, Michael's already lost 2 kids, so it's kind of like, I understand where he's coming from and why he wanted to do it. He just didn't have to be a dick about it.
Not even he didn't have to be a dick about it. I just think I understand where he came from and like why he wanted to do it. I just think his reaction is just like
Yeah,
it's like monster like. So
Because
like
he's a monster.
exactly.
he's
I
acting
think it's
Viking.
like I think it's appropriate that he became a monster because he kind of already was.
We go to the Gilbert household, where Elena is rummaging through her closet trying to find a good dress for homecoming. But Bonnie's like, well, we just shouldn't go. We should just stay home and analyze ancient hieroglyphics for fun.
Which
Yeah.
honestly, yeah, Bonnie, I actually do want to do that.
I would love to do that with Bonnie.
Like, same.
I would also just love not to go to a dance because historically they have been garbage.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree. as
People
well.
die.
Who here has enjoyed their prom?
I had a fun prom.
You're the outlier.
But like in Mystic Falls,
Yeah, no, I would
the
not
dances have been deadly historically and consistently.
Yeah.
and they just continue to go to them like, oh yeah, that's fine.
Perfect. Bonnie, though, is sad because neither of them do have dates. And
Yeah.
Elena's like, well, I mean, it's okay if you talk to me about Jeremy. And, Bonnie's like, well, there's nothing really to talk about here because you're mad at Jeremy, but you're mad at your little brother. I'm mad at Jeremy the person. Which is a great distinction to make because, like, Elena's gonna tell Jeremy a life lesson, gonna be angry at him for a bit, but ultimately, that's her little brother. You know?
Mm-hmm.
That's just her little bro. She can't be that mad at him forever.
Yeah. I love Bonnie.
I think that was such a good character moment for Bonnie.
Yeah.
And like, just like, her being like so self-aware,
Bonnie has a lot of moments like that in the show where she puts herself first, and I love it. And it's what she deserves.
It's what she deserves,
Yeah.
but also, like, it does serve as another good little Mouska tool that we're going to use for later. That the fact that this entire episode is very heavily about family and the bond between siblings.
Yeah.
I mean, this whole show is, obviously, but this episode specifically really, this and the next one really run that shit into the fucking dirt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's good that, like, they're self-aware enough to remember that Jeremy and Elena are siblings,
Especially because it's been a while since we've seen them interact.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like, just last episode, I think I said that Elena fucking dropped Jeremy like a bag of moldy potatoes because she had to talk to him forever.
She's like, I have a brother? Huh, oh well.
So we go to the Salvatore house, where Elena is worrying that Rebecca could turn against them and get in the way of them killing Klaus. And they're making Wolfsbane grenades in Damon's bathroom sink.
Smart.
Which actually, though, I do like this. The fact that they're just, like, making it in the sink. They're really cobbling this shit together however you can. And I really dig that. Because it's the fucking sink. Sure. It's stupid. Sure. Like, this is dumb, but I love it. And Damon reveals to Elena that he has a contingency plan.
Okay. So when I first heard, I forgot that Damon had like this whole other plan. I was like, this is not going to go well.
Yeah, same. Because Damon's plans usually don't go well. There's like a moment in a previous episode where, oh wait, no, I think it might have been this one where I don't know. I feel like Elena keeps getting criticized for like plans. And that just doesn't feel correct. I feel like we should be criticizing Damon way more because his plans always don't work out. I feel like Elena's never like I'm the planner. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, Elena never willingly makes a plan, but when she does, it works. But when Damon willingly makes a plan, it doesn't work.
It's just bad. We have all of last season to look at.
Yeah.
Yeah. Stefan comes in here. He's looking for some ties for some reason.
I mean, why not?
Sure. Hey, y'all.
Mm-hmm.
Did anybody ever wear like a full ass suit to any high school dances except for prom?
No.
No. I mean, I never wore a suit to anything.
I mean, like, but like, did anybody? Like,
Oh.
anybody ever? Like, did
No.
anybody wear
At the
a
prom.
full ass suit any place except for prom?
No.
No.
Isn't it so weird that they wear full ass suits for like every dance?
Yeah.
I just learned to accept it at this point.
It's just weird though, right?
Yeah.
Stefan ends up mocking Elena's track record for high school dances,
As you
which
should.
correct, because every high school dance that Elena Gilbert has been to in the last year has been bad.
Yeah.
Has ended in at least one death.
Yeah, no, he's 100% correct about that. Just like on the nose.
And basically they're trying to keep Stefan out of the plan as best they can, but Stefan's like, this is what I need this plan to work so I can be free from Klaus. But he assures them basically either way that he won't be the reason one of these plans fail because somebody's humanity gets in the way, and he currently doesn't have his.
And see, that was the line where I was like, huh? What?
But like, it's correct. Also, why did your Siri...
Siri has a lot of thoughts about Stefan's humanity.
She like does things and I'm like, why, Siri? Anyways. That made me go, I was saying that made me go, huh? Because of the fact that whenever a plan happens, number one, Elena's usually not involved in it. She's not told about it, which is why it goes wrong.
Yeah. But by extension, isn't that about their humanity because they're trying to save Elena above all?
I guess so, but like then don't put the blame on Elena, because Elena's always been the one who's like tried to come in and try to like figure stuff out, and then by her like figuring stuff out, it's too late. You know what I mean? Put that on.
But also, I feel like that was
else's
Stefan. I feel like that was Stefan putting the blame on old Stefan, who let his humanity get in the way of things. I feel like that was more a dig on old Stefan than it was on current Elena.
Okay, that makes way more sense.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
I'm here to decode the Vampire Diaries in all of its dumbass glory. We go to Mystic Falls High, where Caroline and Tyler are decorating a van for homecoming, and woo, they're decorating vans for some reason.
Yeah, I don't know why that's a thing.
I don't know why that's a thing. But Tyler's like, hey, let's go get a bite to eat. And Caroline's like, oh, I have a thermos in my bag. Just like, go for it. He's like, nah. I know people who like to be fed on no compulsion required, so we can go and actually have a drink. And Caroline says a very genius line of, I just got your mom to like me. I don't want to be caught in a weird vampire threesome with with her son.
Just like
correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's what that is.
Absolutely correct.
That's what it is. It's
straight up. So
I don't know. This was just so weird. I was like, that's a thing?
Well, yeah. Like
yeah.
Drinking blood is very sexual in nature. Let's just say it as it is.
It's just like they never explored it anymore. They were just like, here, we have a thing. Okay, goodbye.
People have weird kinks. Bye. Like, that's it.
But what do we expect of the Vampire Diaries? You know?
Yeah.
Weird kinks, apparently.
Yep.
So she also says that she doesn't want Rebecca Tyler hanging out with Rebecca anymore. I'm really fucking up the names already, y'all.
Yeah, we're doing great.
We are not thriving. This episode is where we go to not thriving.
No, I refuse. We thrive in this episode because this is a good episode.
This episode, yes. Every character in this episode, not thriving.
No.
Basically, Tyler also says that, Matt is the one taking Rebecca to the dance, and Caroline's worried because Matt's just a human. But, he's on Vervain. Rebecca won't hurt him because she wants to go to a high school dance and just go and have fun. She's a teenage girl.
Yeah.
And Tyler's like, well, I have glitter fucking everywhere, so I'm helping you. Don't be like this.
Tyler's just being a straight up ass throughout the entire scene.
But I mean, it's true. He's basically sired to Caroline too. Let's be real here.
I
I
mean,
mean, like, he's
but that's
helping
his
her, but
girlfriend.
that's not the same thing as,
It's not the
like,
I
same
know.
thing. And I think Tyler's just like the worst, you know? It's really
this
sad.
episode, I'm like, Tyler, what is you doing, baby?
And like it's
Yeah.
kind of
What
sucky
you doing?
because like, you know, you learn to like he was already an ass when you first met him.
And
And
now you're
then
just learning to like him again?
yeah,
And now you're like, don't go back. Don't go back. We were just getting to
exactly.
a good place,
How dare you
Tyler.
do this to Tyler, you know? Like he's supposed to be one of those bad guys that you learn to love, but now I can't learn to love him because he sucks. He sucks.
He will eventually get better,
I assume.
but right now that sire bond is really like
Just the
kicking him in
worst.
the ass.
Just the worst.
Yeah.
At the Salvatore house, Rebecca's getting ready for the dance, and she reveals to Elena that it's her first high school dance.
Yay!
She wants this plan to go perfectly, but she doesn't want to know anything about it, which is good.
Yeah.
Rebecca, you're so smart and you don't deserve anything that happens to you after this point. And Elena's like thanking her for her help, and Rebecca's like, you can't trust anyone in my family. You can't. Not Michael, not Klaus, not Elijah, not anyone. And she's like, I have loved and hated my brother in equal measure for many years, but I've never thought I would be the one to kill him. Ouch.
I love Rebecca so much.
I love Rebecca so much too.
Ugh.
She's, holding back tears at this revelation, and Elena's like, here, have your mother's necklace, the original witch's necklace. She hands it back to Rebecca, and she puts it on her. And as Rebecca thanks her, Elena daggers her, saying that she can't leave anything to chance.
That happening?
I was so shocked when that happened.
I
I
was
was
also
like,
shocked.
Elena, she's like, okay, death sentence signed.
Like, I was so shocked. I didn't see that coming. And I think it was
Yeah.
at this point where I was like, oh, so things are really gonna get wild in this episode, huh?
Yeah.
Like things you're not expecting.
Like, what did Rebecca do to deserve this, gang?
I mean, she didn't do anything. She's more like a liability at this point.
But also, like, is she? Like, she seems to have pretty much come to peace with this whole thing.
I don't know if I would say she came to peace with the whole thing. Because of the
What, you didn't think her, like, I have loved and hated my brother, but I've never thought I'd be the one to kill him, and then crying was, like, her coming to peace with it?
That doesn't show me her coming to peace with it for me. That kind of shows, like, her, like, I don't know, there's still, like, a little tinge of, like, I don't know if I can go through with this in there.
That's fair.
Yeah.
But,
And
like, it's also so fucking funny to me that Elena's the one to do this. And now it's like, of anybody on this show, Rebecca Michelson now has the most reason to hate the Salvatore brothers and Elena.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
out of everybody. Sure, Elena's the mystical doppelganger and Klaus hated her but needed her alive for that. Rebecca's just like, she has the best excuse to just tear them to fucking shreds.
Oh, yeah, no, most definitely. And, like,
Yeah.
I
And I
think
hope
she's,
she
like,
takes
valid
it.
in that, but I understand Elena's reasoning for what she did. You know?
Oh yeah, 100%. Like I get why Elena did what she did.
Like,
I'm
it
on the Rebecca
sucks.
Michelson Defense Squad 2020.
I mean, it sucks, but, like, it makes sense. And I think as, like, story-wise, this is, like, one of those, like, little plot twists. Like, it's not big, but it's, like, a tiny one where you're just like, "Oh, wasn't expecting that."
It's like they had already, like, stabbed you in the back for the plot twist of Michael being here. This
Mhm.
one is just them twisting it a little bit, twisting
Yeah.
that knife. It's
Yeah.
like,
A
oh, just a
literal
little
stab
bit.
in the back.
Just a little stab.
Oh, yeah.
Literal stab in the back. Because Elena's fucking... Oh my god, Elena Gilbert. You fucking ruthless motherfucker.
I love her. I love Elena.
Just stabs her in the back. Like, come on, man.
Like she could have like at
Damn.
least turned her around and been like, okay.
No,
Not
but she
even the
did but
honor of
she
doing
couldn't
it
turn her
in your
around.
front.
I think there's something to say about her giving her the necklace and then stabbing her in the back,
Yeah.
Yeah.
you know? Like, I was like, "Oh, that's," and the way my emotions were like, "Oh, this is so sweet." Oh, no, I did not see that coming.
This episode is like a roller coaster of emotions, but just as we're going down.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
it just starts high and then it just goes all the way down, folks.
There's, like, so many moments where you're just like, "Oh, no, they didn't plan for this. Oh, no, they did plan for this. Oh, no, they didn't plan for this. Oh, wait, no, they're fine."
Actually, this isn't like a roller coaster. This is like we're on a fucking tilt-a-whirl.
Yeah.
And we're oscillating wildly
Yeah.
between they actually planned for this and they did not plan for this. And we are just spinning with reckless abandon.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So Damon helps Elena take care of Rebecca's body, and he was like, well, this was a very Catherine move. Which, the worst compliment, Damon.
But also at the same time, is he
It's kinda
wrong though?
true.
He's not wrong, but also the worst compliment, Damon. And so Elena sort of basically her reasoning is that she realized that Stefan was right and that somebody's humanity would get in the way. So she was like, this is just what I had to do to make sure this all went according to plan.
Yep.
Which is, like, valid.
And Elena says that she cares too much, which is sort of her constant self-dig that she does, and that she's the weak link because of that. Yikes. You're correct, Elena, but yikes.
Yeah.
She then asks Damon if he trusts Michael, and Damon's like, no. And she asks if he trusts Stefan. He's like, no. So basically, Damon doesn't trust anybody, which is fair.
Yep.
But also, Elena has just named off two exceedingly untrustworthy people. Like, yeah, no shit. He also reveals that he has, like, a contingency plan, which he revealed earlier, but, like, he has something in plan for this.
Yeah.
And he doesn't want Elena to be involved in it. Which should have been a Mauska tool that I picked up on because I knew what happened later, but, like, this, that he doesn't want Elena to be involved in this, is a Mauska tool we're gonna use later.
Yeah.
It really is. Even 16-year-old Brian, hello Brian, you are dumb, you're a fucking idiot. I didn't pick up on this. Like, this was just like
I didn't pick up on it until like a little bit later in the scene where it was like,
Yeah.
how did that happen? Like not before like the actual thing is revealed. I mean, not when the actual thing is revealed,
Mm-hmm.
but like before then, when like Damon is having a conversation with Michael,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm like, wait, how? And then it clicked. And here's the thing. I think another reason why I like this episode, I would rewatch it again, is because there are so many moments that when you like once you already know what happens, once you go back and watch it, you're like,
Yeah.
oh my
Yeah.
gosh, that, and oh my gosh, that, and that. And like it all kind of just like fits together perfectly. There's no like loose ends, you know?
This
Yeah.
episode is, I think we talked about it last time. This episode is like the last chapter of the mystery novel where everything comes together and you
Yeah.
get sort of known how everything is connected. This is that last chapter here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's wild that it's happening in episode, what? This is fucking episode
10.
309.
Yeah,
Like,
09.
we're like a third of the way through the season.
Yeah.
If even.
This was the mid-season finale.
Oh,
This was?
Yeah.
Why do they not split up their seasons evenly?
I don't know. 'Cause
I'm
this
so
episode-
tired of this. You have 22 episodes. Put it at episode 11.
maybe it's
So
because
here's
it's
what
a
happened.
two-part finale.
Here's what happened. This episode aired November 10th, 2011,
Mhm.
and we didn't get another episode until January 5th, 2012.
Caroline and Tyler arrive at the school to discover that the gym that homecoming was supposed to take place in is now flooded.
Oh, shit.
But let me just
Yeah.
say, wow.
Well,
Just
Wow.
wow. I think I don't know why I like this so much, but I like it a lot. That the gym's just flooded.
And that
Yeah.
you can tell that, like, Tyler had planned for this, sort of, because he's
Yeah,
just
he's
like, let's
kinda
move it
like-
to my house.
he kind of just goes and goes, oh no, what happened? There's water in the, oh shit. Oh, I got a party at my house, let's go. And it's like, what?
Yeah, it kind of like it kind of like I guess like it fits so perfectly. Like, of course this would happen, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And then I also just love Caroline reacting to the situation of this scene.
Yeah. Just, it's so Caroline, and I
Yeah.
love it. Come on!
I love that. I do love Caroline in this scene a lot. I don't
You
know
just love
why,
Caroline
but I
in
just
general.
do.
It's very good.
Yeah.
So basically, they're moving Homecoming to Tyler's house.
Yeah.
Uh, Caroline calls Elena to tell her this information while Elena's at the Salvatore house, and there is a knock at the door, and Matt arrives looking for Rebecca. He looks spiffy, he has a little corsage. Matt, you're so good.
Mhm.
He's gonna be such a good boy to Rebecca, and I love it. Oh wait, where's Rebecca?
She's daggered. She got daggered in the back.
Daggered and in the murder basement.
She's in the murder basement. So Elena asks how Matt would feel about a new backup date.
Aka awkward.
Very awkward. Caroline and Bonnie show up to the full-blown party at Tyler's house. That is his house, by the way, is stuffed with a band and people they don't know.
And
Mhm.
The
band is
band
called
is My Morning Jacket.
My Morning Jacket. I was called the Moving Lights, and I was like, that doesn't sound right.
They It's wild that this Louisville rock band was on The Vampire Diaries.
And the best part, I think, like, during the promos for this episode, I remember them being like, My Morning Jacket performs. And I was like, okay, great. What happens in the episode, though? But I guess it's kind of like a good deflector. They're kind of like, okay, we have a band, yay! And then, like, shit
Yay.
gets real.
And like, here's the thing, right? I would understand that type of promotion if this show was like on MTV, you know?
Teen Wolf.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like, they're definitely like more music focused, and like even though they're like making a show over on MTV when they used to make shows, there was like they were like even like when a song came up, it would come up in the corner so you could see what the song was, you know? They were like very
Yeah.
like even though they were making shows, they were also heavily focused on the music part of it. This is on the CW, man. What's your excuse?
Let's see here. Oh, there is one mention of The Vampire Diaries on the band My Morning Jacket's Wikipedia page.
Uh,
Good
And it
for
is a
them.
sad little mention.
but
But it
does
is a
that mean that
mention.
it's just like not even anything in comparison to the things that they've done?
Yeah. Like it's just like on their list of TV performances, right under House and right above Gossip Girl.
Oh,
So
so literally they were like, let's get this money.
literally they were just like, let's get paid, y'all. This was what, 2011? Okay, so this was in a transitional period for the band, actually, where they were experimenting with their sound. They had just come out with an album that was very polarizing. So they were like, let's go to the Vampire Diaries and get paid.
Yeah.
I love how we now know so much about this band.
This band called My Morning Jacket that, by the way, became active in the year that I was born.
Yeah.
This band is 22 years old. But it's so funny that this is like a rock band,
Mhm.
right? It's a rock band. They also do their sound is sort of rock country. We can call it rockabilly because that's what I call this kind of music. Where it's for cowboys who like to rock. And yet they're on the Vampire Diaries playing a song that is not rock, not country, just sort of
It's just,
So at this party with this band, Stefan and Tyler are talking, and Tyler reveals that this is actually Klaus's party, and that it isn't a party, it's actually a wake.
And then you're like, whoa.
that's not morbid at all.
Matt and Elena show up to the party together, and Elena tells Matt not to tell Caroline anything. Caroline shows up and tells him that Klaus is here, and Elena's not surprised, but she goes off to find Bonnie, and Caroline is
should.
like, this is weird. Like, Elena's not shocked by this? I didn't know anything about this. Is everything good? And Matt's like, yeah, it's fine. I'm gonna go get a drink now. Bye.
I love it.
Yeah.
Matt's the worst liar.
He really is. Like, I'm like, of all people not to have this party, it should not have been Matt.
But also like at this point, I was like, why are they keeping stuff in Caroline? You know, like everyone else knows but Caroline.
But I think it's because Caroline and Tyler.
Oh yeah, no, I figured that out eventually. But I'm like, at this point, I was like, interesting move. It feels like we're watching chess happen, and all these moves are being made.
You say that with the confidence of somebody who has never watched chess in their life.
No, I've played chess.
Stefan meets up with Klaus, and he's commenting that, like, this party's fucking huge and that he hasn't seen any of these people around Mystic Falls before.
Yeah.
And Klaus is like, well, I've been planning this for 1,000 years. And he asks Klaus why he stopped running. Klaus is like, well, now I can wake up my family and reunite them.
Ooh.
I love how Klaus thinks this is all gonna go hunky-dory.
Yeah.
With the siblings he daggered.
Mm-hmm.
You would think that Klaus, like the smart, like vindictive, evil Niklaus Michelson, would be smart and like realize something's weird's happening. No, he's too busy getting drunk partying that now his dad's dead.
No, but also, like, it's wild to me that Klaus thinks. Some part of Klaus thinks that it's all gonna be okay once he's killed his dad.
Yeah.
You know? Like, once he wakes up his family members, that they're gonna be like, oh, lit, what's up, brother? Like,
Yeah.
what?
Maybe, does he think that they hate his dad more than they hate him for killing them?
I guess probably that's what they think, but like, that's changed, bud. You left him in a coffin for a while.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, Rebecca was the newest coffin edition, and she's been there for 90 years. So the other ones have been there for well over a century.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think it's been like they kind of reveal it like later on, but it's been a hot minute for some of those siblings.
Yeah, like, it's wild to me. Klaus notices that the homecoming queen is still alive, and so he's like, well, where's Rebecca then?
Okay, but I just loved like how Klaus is like, oh, the homecoming queen's still alive. Where's Rebecca?
Exactly. He's like, this is wrong. Rebecca would have murdered this girl by now.
I just love it.
His big brother sense tingled and he was like, Rebecca would have committed a murder by now. And Stefan has no idea where he is, and Klaus is like, well, then I want to see Mikael. And Klaus says that, you know, sure, but in return for Stefan showing Klaus to Mikael, he says that I want my freedom. And
Fair.
Klaus agrees that once Mikael is dead and the weapon is destroyed, Stefan is free.
I mean, solid deal.
Honestly, yeah. Even Steven. Once my dad's dead, you're good to go. Mikael, at the Salvatore house, Mikael returns to the living, saying that he found this, that he has the stake, and he shows it off to Damon, and it's a very pretty stake.
It's a nice carving.
Yeah,
It is.
I like to think that Mikael like took some time. Like, I'm gonna carve this,
He's like, I'm gonna learn wood carving just for this,
and so I can derive it in Klaus's heart.
but it'll look pretty while I do.
Exactly. He's all about that aesthetic.
So basically, Mikael also reveals that he has trained himself over the centuries to be able to feed on the predator, not the innocent.
How do you learn
Which
to do
reminds me, that reminds me of, you know, remember Caroline's dad who was like, my mind is a steel trap. I cannot be compelled because I have focused so hard.
Yes.
It reminds me of that. Shitty dads of the world unite.
But I kind of like this because it's like, the reason he feeds on vampires is because he created them. Like, it's because of him. So he's like, you know what? I made this mess. I'm gonna eat you.
I made this mess. I might as well eat my way out.
Well, honestly, it feels like one of those made up things that shouldn't be real, and they just needed it for the plot.
But they also, they come back to it later in like season 4 or 5, right? They come back to vampires feeding on vampires later.
Oh,
I think so. It's kind of a thing they come back to.
yeah, I guess
They do come back to it. So
Yeah.
it's weird. Like, now it feels weird and like that it's just for plot reasons, but they also come back to it later.
Okay, if they come back to it, then I'll take back my statement because, like,
They come back to it in a very weird way, though.
it feels like, at least to me, right, when they have like these things like I cannot be compelled because I trained myself, or even like Catherine saying like, oh, like over like, or I guess not Catherine, but like the guy who's just like learning to drink
Drinking
for
for Vane.
Vane. very quickly and like
Yeah.
resist it.
Oh, it's definitely like plot armor sometimes. It's
Yeah,
just like
it just
plot device.
it just kind of is like, oh, I would like it more if they like explained it more, went into depth about it, maybe made a little lore behind it, but they just like bring it up and then you're like, all right, goodbye.
This one though bothers me the least out of them because it is Michael who had such a hatred for what he created that
Okay,
he
yeah.
learned to feed on them. Like that makes sense to me. That tracked in my head more than Stefan and Damon downing Vervain with
Yeah.
whiskey.
Yeah.
That one didn't track with me as well as this one did.
Yeah.
And the other one of the fucking mega mind compulsion resistance or whatever, that one didn't track with me either. But this one did for some reason.
Mhm.
So basically, Stefan shows up saying that there's been a change in plans as Klaus is now at the Lockwood Manor, and Klaus wants to see Michael's body, which is going to be hard because Michael is alive now.
Yeah.
Damon's like, don't worry, I got a plan. Then Michael feeds on Stefan and knocks him the fuck out.
Which, smart.
Oh,
Get your strength up for the battle ahead.
I was gonna say, I think it's at this point that Damon, this is when Damon is like talking about Michael like feeding on blood, and he
Mhm.
mentions Catherine. And it was at this point where I was like, we haven't seen from Catherine in a while. Did she
She's just
she
chilling.
escape? Huh? I'm so
Is she
confused. How
dead?
have you been in communication with Catherine?
Yeah, no, that is also another one of those little Mouska tools that we're gonna use for later.
Yeah.
It's a
Wow.
little breadcrumb that we got one earlier that Elena's not going to be at the party. She's going to stay out of harm's way. We get this one now that Damon was in talks with Catherine. What are these little breadcrumbs leading us to?
And
I
see,
wonder.
that's what I'm talking about with this episode. There's so many moments where it's just like, oh, like put 1 and 2 together and you get 3, but I didn't know that. But now that I'm watching, but now if I'm like watching it back, I'm like, oh, yeah, of course that happened. You know?
Yeah, exactly. It's the last chapter of the detective book.
Exactly.
Tyler, back at the Lockwood Mansion, Tyler comments on like how his mom would freak at the amount of people at the party. Klaus is saying like, well, you don't have to worry about your mom, but you do have to worry about your friends. And
Ooh.
Klaus asks if Tyler knows anybody at the party. Tyler says he doesn't, but Klaus reveals that they are more of the hybrids he's picked up along the way from various states like North Dakota and Kansas.
Woo!
He makes a little note. He makes this note. He's like, surprisingly, there's a pack of werewolves in the Heartland, which makes so much sense to me
Yeah.
because so much shit you see farmers doing is superhuman and dumb. I once saw a man while baling hay, like making hay bales, toss a hay bale up nearly 100 feet in the air and have it land perfectly on the truck.
Okay, he's a fucking werewolf.
Yeah.
Like,
That's not human.
people who work on farms just do that shit. Like,
not all people on farms are werewolves or vampires.
but also, like, it also makes perfect sense to me. Like, well, you know who goes inside before dark every night? Farmers. You know who's superstitious and doesn't leave their house if they hear weird noises in the night? Fucking farmers. Like, that makes so much sense to me and it made me laugh really hard. A, because I am in Kansas, but B, because it's just like, yeah, you know what? That tracks with the weird shit I know about farmers, you know? That tracks. Also, can you imagine it'd be so much fun to be a wolf in a cornfield? You can play hide and seek with all your little wolf friends. Caroline and Tyler talk as he asks Caroline what's going on. Caroline, though, has no idea what's happening. And Tyler is like, well, don't fucking lie to me. But Caroline's not lying. She doesn't know anything. But if she did, she wouldn't tell him because he's on Team Klaus.
Yeah.
Smart. It makes more sense to leave Caroline out of it now, huh?
Yeah.
Because
And
as she tries to leave, Tyler vervains her because he's the world's shittiest boyfriend.
he's so bad. I
Pissed
don't
me off
understand
so
why they were
much.
still together at this point, if I'm being completely honest.
I got it up until about this point.
Like just because of the way, like in my head, right? Even like before us seeing them together this episode, I know in the back of my mind that Tyler's just being an ass since like he's been sired. He's just been an ass, right? He like is hanging out with Rebecca, and Caroline doesn't like that, right? And
But also, like, did she know that he was hanging out with Rebecca? Because the only time we saw Tyler and Rebecca interact was when Caroline wasn't there. And then this
Yeah.
mention of Rebecca earlier makes it seem like Caroline
but she
didn't
does
know that
say
that was a
stop
thing.
hanging out with Rebecca, which makes it seem like she knows that he's hanging out with her previously.
That's fair.
Right?
Yeah.
That's fair.
So, like, and he's just being an ass. He's hanging out with a girl she doesn't like and is objectively not a good person, not even human. So, like, there's so many red flags where I'm just like, why are they still together? Like, I thought Caroline would have broken up with him by now, you know?
But, like, I don't know. I kind of get it up until this point right here, because, like, that's her Tyler, you know? They've been through some shit and they're trying to be better. Yeah.
There's still Tyler in there because I think like even like when they first found out Tyler was Sire, she's like, "You're turning into the Tyler that I hated."
Mm-hmm.
And then like she realized like it's still Tyler, the Tyler that she loves, but like at the same time now this isn't the Tyler that she loves anymore. This is the Tyler that's been taken over by Klaus.
Yeah.
So I can't
And you
really
see that
blame.
later this episode, they break up, I think.
Yeah, I think they
Yeah,
do. Kind of.
which is sad.
But I get it. Tyler's a
Yeah.
shitty boy right now.
Yeah, he is.
He's a shit boy.
I was happy when they broke up. I was sad for Caroline, happy for me.
Yeah.
Outside, Elena and Tyler,
Klaus.
Jesus Christ.
Wrong hybrid.
This show is stupid. This show's dumb. And I
Too
was
many
literally
characters.
staring right at it. I was staring right at outside Elena and Klaus come face to face, but my brain was like, I'm talking about Tyler though. Outside, Elena and Klaus finally come face to face. He thanks her for taking down Mikael and is like, "This seemed pretty easy for you, huh?" And Elena looks around nervously and he's like, "Well, why are you nervous?" She's like, "I'm not. Don't worry about it. I just don't like you." Which, fair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He warns her that he is always one step ahead and that whatever they're planning, they won't succeed.
Ooh.
Dun dun dun.
What's Klaus planning?
I don't know.
Other than mass murder again.
Other than a cool party, I guess.
Yeah.
Matt and Tyler talk, and Tyler warns. He basically is enlisting Matt to get Caroline out of here as quick as possible, and he says that something's going down, and that there's a house full of hybrids who won't let anything happen to Klaus, and he's trying to protect Caroline from himself, basically, because of his sire bond to Klaus. Which, like, it's interesting. Tyler does seem to try and make some smart moves to mitigate the damage from the sire bond.
Yeah.
Which I appreciate.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was like smart on his end, like get Caroline out of here, but like he knew Caroline wouldn't leave willingly, so it's like,
yeah, it's smart, but also it's like, okay, sure. It's the same way that they had to literally kill Mikael for a bit so that Stefan could tell the truth and like answer the questions correctly. It's a fun little damage mitigation game they're playing.
Mm-hmm. It's a cost-benefit analysis.
The abrupt silence after you said cost-benefit analysis should tell you everything you need to know about Brian and I as people. Tyler walks downstairs and Damon pushes him and like punches him into the office. He warns Damon that their plane is going to fail and that Klaus is ready. And Tyler and Damon start fighting. Damon is about to stake Tyler, but Bonnie comes in and helps take Tyler and Damon down. So she sort of rings a bell in both their heads, and they both fall to the ground. And Bonnie realizes that Damon has the stake because he is the only one who can get inside of the house.
Which makes sense.
Yeah, I also love how Bonnie was like, "Is that the?" And Damon's like, "Shut the fuck up."
Yeah,
they can hear you.
That was fun. There's a lot of those types of moments too throughout this episode where it's like, oh, that was funny.
Yeah.
One of Klaus's hybrids, Mindy, tells Klaus that he has a visitor and that the visitor is Mikael. Also, in this, when Mindy comes up to tell him that he's playing beer pong, but the cups are completely empty. You can hear it when sinks that last shot.
That's
It's
why
just completely empty.
That's why it's so like of a shot, because you can just hear it going.
You can hear it clang all the way down. Like, fill it with some water, y'all.
Like that's so easy to do too.
Like, it's just anything. Literally anything. He's like, victory is imminent, and then he sinks that ping pong ball into an empty ass cup. Like, what were you winning here, Klaus? What were you winning?
He won something.
He goes up to the door and comes face to face with Michael. Michael's unable to get inside the house, and as they sort of banter, the hybrids descend upon Michael, getting ready to attack him to protect Klaus. Michael calls Klaus a coward, says that he's like hiding behind his little playthings, kind of, which is, yeah, correct. Read him to fucking filth, Michael. I mean, don't. You're mean. I hate you, but
He's mean, but I loved it.
So, and even though those hybrids are part wolf, they are still part vampire, meaning he can still compel them.
Literally, that reveal, I was like, oh my gosh. They're doing like wild things in this episode, because they're like, oh, I have one trick, and they're like, actually, you know what? I'm gonna put the upper hand on you. You didn't realize I also had this trick. It's just like,
they're playing 4D chess, and we're just playing checkers.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So the hybrid Mindy shows up holding Elena.
That's gonna end perfectly well. They brought Elena to the party.
I'm so happy. I mean, she was here already.
She was
Don't
here.
don't reveal this, Brian.
What? It's Elena dressed up very nice and at the party. So they brought Elena to the party, and now Elena's in danger. I mean, come on.
So Michael asks Klaus to step outside, but Klaus does not budge. He tells Michael to kill Elena because Klaus wants hybrids, but what he wants more is Michael gone. And Michael says that even if he is rid of him, he will still be alone forever, and no one cares about him anymore.
Ooh.
Whoa.
Yikes.
The roast of Klaus Michelson has begun.
Apparently. This isn't even a fun one either. This one's just mean.
No, this
just
one's
hurts.
just hurtful. But the one thing I will applaud Joseph Morgan for his acting. Like, you can just see, like, slowly and surely, like, tears just start filling up. And it's just like, oh, I love it.
Joseph Morgan is so good. He's so good.
Even the big bad Klaus can be reduced to tears, and I love it.
By his shitty dad.
And not even his real dad.
By his shitty stepdad.
Technically. This is kind of just like a lot of banter. It was like,
this is a lot of there's an extended talking sequence here.
Yeah, they talk about, like, kill Elena, no, kill Elena, no, kill Elena, no.
Klaus
God,
is
kill
just
Elena.
like, kill Elena. And Michael Klaus tries to call Michael's bluff, but Michael's just like, okay, sure. And then he stabs Elena, and she falls to the ground.
No.
Klaus realizes that Michael was not bluffing, and so he like has a moment of shock. Then Damon shows up, quickly taking down Klaus and stabbing him with the white oak stake.
Not in the heart.
Not in the heart, just to get him down and hurting. And then Elena wakes up, except it's not Elena, it's Catherine.
Ah!
The wild journey we just went on to finally reveal that it is Catherine, and she throws vervain grenades in like the direction of the hybrids to get them out of commission, which love that for you.
I just love, like, she just goes kaboom and just like grenades, boom. I'm like, ugh.
Like, you were keeping those on you the whole time, girl?
Yeah, and the one thing I loved is that Michael didn't even know it was Catherine.
Yeah.
Oh, it's just so good.
Basically, Damon is about to kill Klaus when Stefan jumps in and stops him. What?
Fucking hell.
Are you kidding me?
What?
Are you kidding me? So close.
So Klaus looks up, realizes that he has a chance, so he takes the stake and jumps, killing Michael. He like jumps through the door to murder Michael.
He's like Superman. He's like, wah!
Exactly. And then with that, Michael and the white oak stake begin to burn. And Klaus watches on as Michael is finally dead.
Michael really was just here for like 3 episodes, and then was just like,
Yeah.
peace. Bye, guys. Nice
They can only
knowing you.
afford Sebastian Roche for so long.
It's true. I mean, his first name is Sebastian. He's an expensive bitch.
Yeah. Little thing of lore though about this. That was the only white oak stake in existence. It's now gone.
So it's just gone.
It's gone. There's no way to kill Klaus.
That's so sad.
Yeah. No. Anyway.
Anyway.
Joseph Morgan getting that main contract.
So happy for him. Klaus grants Stefan his freedom, and Stefan leaves.
Yeah, he just gets the fuck out of
He's
there.
like, bye.
Later.
Because he knows that Damon's going to be pissed.
Exactly. Damon like questions him of like, what the fuck did you do? And then Stefan just yeets. Bye, Stefan.
Yeah.
Caroline wakes up in her house, confused a little bit after all this action has gone down, and Tyler walks in and apologizes for stabbing her, but he's like, I did it to save you because I knew that you would stay behind to help your friends. And Caroline's like, you're one of the bad guys now.
Mm-hmm.
And, he is like, well, I'm okay with being the bad guy because I don't have to go through the pain of turning ever again. If being sired to Klaus is the price I have to pay, then he's going to pay it.
Oh,
And
I love this scene.
Caroline realizes that Tyler really has no control over himself anymore. And Tyler's like, don't turn your back on me now. We've already been through so much. But she does. And
She's
Tyler
done.
leaves.
She's done. I just love that Caroline's like, you are a dick now. Go away.
Yeah.
Go away. So we go to the Salvatore house where Elena tries to figure out what went wrong, but Damon says that they thought of everything.
And they did.
And Stefan is what
They
went
actually
wrong.
did.
They actually did. They had a good plan this
For
time.
the first time ever, they had a good plan.
They had a very good plan, and I wish it would have worked out for them, honestly.
Yeah, because like they really like, because even me, I don't know how I would have like planned for everything. Like that takes like a lot of like brain power, to think of like all those steps and all of those things that could have gone wrong, and then finding a way to prepare for that.
Yeah.
It's just, and like the type of like, I guess, because they say later on that like the plan like worked, and like the plan not worked, but the plan hinged on Stefan like wanting to get his freedom and wanting to be rid of Klaus, right? So like,
Yeah.
like you can tell that they went through like each person who's like in this Scooby gang or whatever, who's like kind of a part of like the main plan that was what was supposed to happen, and was like, what do they want, and how willing are they to get it? What are they willing to do to get it? And they just planned in that way,
And they did it. It would have worked.
Yeah.
Like, I hate to be the, Farmer Jenkins at the end of Scooby-Doo, but it would have worked if not for those meddling Stefans.
Yeah. It would
And
have.
it would have worked, too.
Yeah.
So, like, I hate to be that one, but, like, it would have.
And, like, for the first time in his life, Damon actually came up with a good plan.
It was a good plan.
And even his backup plan worked.
Yeah.
And they had, like, contingencies set in place. It was just, like, they were good to go.
Yeah.
Except they weren't.
I wonder what happened.
Damon's phone rings, and it's Catherine. And she says that she's leaving and going back into hiding. And she tells Damon that his plan was good, which is, something coming from her.
Yeah.
That's something. She hangs up the phone call with Damon. And we see a shot of her in the car. And Catherine turns, and sitting in the car with her is Stefan. Saying that, Damon doesn't know where the plan went wrong. And she basically is like, are you going to be good from here? Because I really got to put some more fucking distance in between us. And Stefan's like, yeah, I'll be good.
Also, where are they driving to?
I think they were just getting out of town, trying to put
Yeah.
distance between them, and that's why she's like, "Are you good here? Because I'm gonna keep going. So get out of my car."
She's like, I'm going to fucking Timbuktu.
Yeah, she's just out of here. And basically, in a flashback, it's revealed that uh, it was all along, all during the party, that Catherine was basically Elena.
Yeah.
And so that scene where Elena looked really nervous next to, or while talking to Klaus, was all Catherine. And so Catherine knew something was up, and so Catherine went back to the Salvatore house to wake up Stefan during the party, and she reveals to Stefan that if Klaus dies, he is ensured that Damon will die with him, and that even in death, his hybrids have their orders, and that's not something Damon could have gotten out of alive, basically.
Nope.
So back in the car, out of the flashback, basically back in the car, Stefan questions how Catherine knew that he would save Damon. Catherine really didn't know that he would, but she was hoping that he would want to. Back in a flashback, they're at the Salvatore house, and Catherine tells Stefan to care. Care enough to save Damon's life, and just like give a shit, you know? She's still gonna go through with the plan, and even if Stefan doesn't help, Klaus will be dead, but so will Damon. So unless Stefan cares enough to give a shit. Back in the car, out of the flashback, she says that she wasn't really just trying to save Damon, but she was also trying to save Stefan. She was trying to spur him into caring so that his humanity would kind of flick back on. Stefan says that he doesn't want to let his humanity back in after everything's done. And Catherine says that if Stefan doesn't let it all back in, he won't be able to help her with what she has planned. So get mad, because at least mad is an emotion.
Yeah.
I love these couple of scenes, like with the flashback.
They're really good.
They are. It was a really well done like reveal.
Yeah, I also just think it's a really good Catherine moment for once.
Yeah. I just loved how Catherine, like, my favorite thing, like Catherine says in this, humanity is a vampire's greatest weakness. And that I actually wrote it down because I wanted to keep this in my notes because I don't actually write notes anymore. Um, then that no matter how many times they turn it off, it always finds a way back in. Like, so no matter how many times you try to turn off your humanity, it will always come back.
Which is also some of the ways that they talk about humanity here is a little confusing, because earlier it was established earlier that humanity is just like a switch that you can flip on and off. However, the
Yeah.
way that Stefan and Catherine talk about it, it doesn't seem like it's super a switch. Like, it seems like you can let parts
Yeah.
of it back in, but not all of it.
Maybe it's like
which
a
is a
switch
little
with
weird.
a dimmer.
It's a dim
Yeah.
switch now.
Yeah.
There was even a mention when Rose was still alive. Rest in peace, Rose. We miss you. Come back, please.
R.I.P. Queen.
She she was crying over Trevor or Trevor.
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 Elena's like, well, why don't you just turn it off? There's a switch. And Rose even said, like, after a few hundred years, that switch doesn't exist anymore.
Ugh.
She said that's a new vampire trick.
Yeah. So once you get older, it doesn't work like that no more.
It doesn't really work like that anymore. And I also, another thing that I love that Catherine did, she goes, great, so Klaus will be dead, but so will be Damon. Like, do you really want Klaus and Damon dead? Or you just want Klaus dead? I love Catherine so much.
This scene, kind of like made me like Catherine like a little bit more, you know?
Yeah,
Well, I've always
finally
loved
got
her.
you.
Yeah.
And also, again, Nina and Paul just killing it.
Yeah.
Nina Dobrev, I don't know if we said it enough, but Nina Dobrev is so fucking good.
Yeah.
She
great.
really is. It's just the fact that she can make you think that she is not, it's not the same actress. Like, that's just...
It's talent. It's just talent.
That Emmy, though, she was so robbed.
Was she nominated for an Emmy?
No, she wasn't.
A time jump occurs. The next sort of morning, kind of? It's lighter out, isn't it?
Yeah, there's sun.
There's sun. So Klaus is trying to find Rebecca, and Stefan gives him a call, thanking Klaus for his freedom. Stefan says that Klaus took everything from him, And Klaus is like, you know what? Resentment gets old. And Stefan snaps back with, you know what doesn't get old? Revenge.
I love that line. Love it so
And
much.
Klaus opens the door to the truck that he holds all of his family in, and they are gone. They are missing. Klaus threatens to kill everyone that Stefan has ever met, which is probably something he would do, actually. But Stefan replies that if Klaus does that, he'll never see his family again. He sort of taunts Klaus with, you know, after 1,000 years of being one step ahead, did you plan for this?
Oh, like, it's so good. It's so
This was
good.
such a good cliffhanger.
It's so good. This being a mid-season finale makes sense, actually. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Yeah.
Because we were left with this, with Klaus basically being on the warpath, and then, like, oh god.
And that is it for this episode of The Vampire Diaries. That's where they end. Wild.
Good episode.
Just buck fucking wild.
Good episode.
Yeah.
Hey, Jordan. What do you rank episode 309, Homecoming?
So I really enjoyed this episode. I've said that before and earlier in this podcast episode, but I really enjoyed this episode. And I definitely want to rate it high just because, again, feels like the last chapter of a murder mystery book. And that's kind of my favorite vibe from the Vampire Diaries to get. But I don't know if I want, like, see, I'm like, I don't know if I want to give it like a 9 or a 10. Cause like, I don't know if it's like, I know I love it, but I don't know, is it 10 worthy?
Is it 10 worthy?
And like, I'm trying to find like some sort of like flaw or something I didn't like about the episode, you know? And I can't find it.
I think it's a good episode.
It's a good episode, so I think
it's just a very good episode.
I'm giving it a 10.
Giving it a 10. Okay. Brian, what are you ranking this episode?
Same as Jordan, 10.
10?
I just love this episode. It was just... Originally I was going to go 9.5, but like after rewatching it, like, again, like to write everything down, I just loved how, like, these plans were working. And then, like, all the heroes thought that they were going to finally win. And then all of a sudden it's just ripped away from them. And then the villain gets the upper hand, and now they got the upper hand on the villain. Like, I just love that shit. So I was like, you know what? It's good shit.
It's a 10. I am also going to give it a 10. This
Holy
is the
shit.
This is the first episode this season that we have given 10s across the board.
Nope, Ghost
Or
World.
wait, second one, because I forgot that you weren't here, but you did also give it a 10.
I did.
A very good string of episodes we've gone on since The Reckoning.
Yeah.
These are probably my 4, like, this is... Honestly,
is this
is probably one of the strongest, like, sequences of TVD that we've had thus far, honestly.
Because, like,
yeah.
And it's so weird, too, because, like, the first half of this part of the season was so
bad.
It was so bad. And then they were like, actually, we've remembered how to do our jobs. And now let's showcase it for you.
Yeah.
This is giving me the same vibes that the end of season 2 had.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, cutting off as I lay dying. If we go from, say, like, Know Thy Enemy to The Sun Also Rises, that was another, I think, the only one that could sort of, the only sequence that could sort of rival this, this sort of run of episodes that we're on now. And if this keeps going, season 3, baby, what are you doing? You finally got it, hun.
Now you guys know why season 3 is my favorite season.
It's just the beginning is so rough.
Yeah, the beginning.
The beginning is so rough. It has growing pains, but honestly, it gets just... It's just so many plot twists, and it's like, it's the Vampire Diaries that I know and love.
Yeah.
It's mythology, it's love, it's drama, and it's just perfect.
Who's the MVP for this episode?
Oh, shit. Part of me kind of wants to say Damon.
Yeah, I was about to say that, even though I hate him with a burning passion.
He had a plan, and it worked. And he had backups, and he he had the idea, call Catherine, have her be Elena, and have her take down the hybrids while we keep Elena safe. And I'm going Damon.
Jordan, who are you going?
I know we all collectively do not like Damon. But
Yeah.
who else would I put here? Like, he, like, just had, like, such a huge, like, maybe Michael, you know? Just for, like, the
Eh,
entire, or, like, the entire scene with, Michael and Klaus was, like, really, really good. But, like,
yeah.
so here's the thing, right? Even though
Mhm.
Damon, like, had just, like, a very, very good plan, there was no, like, really, really good acting chops
Exactly.
for him.
Like, Damon, the character, did good. I don't think the acting was as great as some of the other stuff in this
Yeah.
episode.
So that's why I'm like, at first I was like, maybe it's Damon, but also, like, even though he, like, was involved in all the planning of this, he didn't really do much.
He was just there.
Yeah, until he, like, got the stake and, like, missed the heart, you know? So
Like, sure, he was the mastermind behind everything, but he was here for like 10 minutes.
yeah. So, like, now I'm like who, like, did the most this episode? We have like Catherine doing the whole switcheroo, which I think was great, you know? And then I might also be willing to give it to Klaus or Michael.
I think I was leaning towards giving it
Yeah.
to Klaus, actually.
Yeah, I think just purely because of Joseph Morgan's acting.
Yeah.
Exactly.
With that
The
scene.
fact
Yeah,
that
I'm changing Klaus. I'm going Klaus.
the fact that he had as good of a plan as Damon did and acted
Yeah.
And
Funny.
acted.
and was an actor there. You know?
Yeah, I'm gonna go Daniel Gillies. Jesus Christ.
He's not even here anymore.
I've been here. No, I'm gonna go Klaus purely because of Joseph Morgan. You are great.
Yeah, I would
Are
also
we
go
all
I hate
Klaus.
Klaus,
We can do Klaus.
but I love Joseph Morgan.
Okay. It would have hurt my heart so much if I got outvoted and I had to put Damon down on this spreadsheet
I
for
know.
MVP.
That's why I was like, I didn't
It
want
would
to
have
say it, but like,
hurt my heart.
Like, at
like-
first glance, it seems like it should be Damon, but then when you really look at it, you're like, actually, no, Damon doesn't get this.
yeah.
Like, I think the reason why we were so willing to put Damon, honestly, is because he was tolerable. Tolerable.
Exactly. This was like
Yeah.
one of the episodes where we didn't all hate him, and so it's like, oh,
Like, I think if this was like a lackluster episode and we had to choose someone, we would choose
I would have picked
Damon.
Damon.
But, like, this was a really good episode, and Damon
Yeah.
didn't really do much other than plan.
It's basically, for me, it was a tie between purely acting Nina and Joseph.
Yeah,
Joseph. That's really it.
yeah,
yeah.
same.
But like character-wise, Klaus, just that whole like how he had to listen to Michael basically berate
Yeah.
him.
Yeah.
Oh, that's some good shit.
Some good shit. So that's it for this episode of Afterbite. Thanks for tuning in. We'll be back in a few days with episode 310, The New Deal.
Ooh,
Ooh.
it's another the.
But this one makes sense.
It does.
Wait,
This
it's
one
another-
makes sense.
It's another what?
The episode
Oh.
title, it's
Oh.
The New Deal.
Yeah. But yeah, this one doesn't make sense. Feels like,
Yeah.
isn't the New Deal the name of
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Whatever you're thinking of, yes.
The New Deal or No Deal.
That's not. what-
Howie Mandel, you're here in the flesh? No.
Fun fact: he's a hybrid.
Whoa! And he uses way too much Germex.
Oh.
He's like a germaphobe, right?
Oh yeah, he is.
Oh yeah, he
is.
is.
Yeah. Come on, guys, go with me here.
Sorry, I took another bus.
So that's it for this week, y'all. Thanks for tuning in. We'll be back next week with, or not next week. Actually, yes, next week with The New Deal. Until then, follow us on Twitter at AfterBitePod. We post all of our updates there as well as fun memes, and you can know when the next episode goes up just because we always tweet about it, and I try and make it fun. I try my best, y'all. Also, if you want to yell at us, we are on Anchor at anchor.fm/Afterbite. You can leave a voice message telling us how much Damon should have been the MVP for this episode. You're wrong, but you can definitely say that. It's the internet, and you can say whatever the fuck you want. Until then, y'all, stay inside, stay safe, and wash your fucking hands.
Wear a mask.
Defund the police. And again, first step to abolishing
It is
the
just
police.
like the first step until,
It's a
yeah,
stepping stone.
exactly. Until abolish the police, but like the first step here is vital to defund them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now this is part of the episode where we just talk for a little bit, so I can.
Oh, we have to talk? Great.
we do this every week, Brian. Do you
I
not
missed one
listen
week.
to this podcast?
I can't hear you. I'm wearing a mask.
That's not how that works, Brian.